everyone, my name is Camilla. I know most of the people who are watching this video don't know me. So I live in Italy and I think most of you have read the news. Italy is the second most contaminated country by the coronavirus after China. And I thought that the majority of people don't really know what's going on here and what quarantine feels like. So I'm making this video because I asked around the internet what are the main questions about the coronavirus and the quarantine status here in Italy, and I choose the most interesting ones according to me, and I'm going to answer them for you, and I hope that this might help the ones who will go through this process too, like us in Italy right now. So the first question is, love to you all. Are groceries running out? Does it look like the supply chain for business is still in place? And following, how are the factories' food producers? Are they still allowed to operate and work? I'm assuming this is considered essential. Yes, it is. So right now the government took some very important safety measures for the emergency stages that we're in right now. And one of the main thing is not to move and not to leave your house except for very important reasons, such as buying groceries or medicine, going to the hospital if it's necessary, go to work for the ones who have to. So yeah, going to the grocery store and to the supermarket is allowed. The supermarkets are stocked and fully equipped with things you need, but in order to enter into the supermarkets and the grocery store, you have to wait in line before entering, and you have to respect a safety distance of 1 meter between each person, and they only let enter into the grocery store a couple of people at a time, so not everyone at the same time. Did you guys run out of toilet paper too? I read that this is a very common thing that is happening, especially in UK and the US, I think. That people, like I said, are rushing over buying many things. This is not happening here in Italy. It has happened right before the government declared the status of quarantine for all the country, and this was one of the worst moves that the citizens in Italy made, because those situations of crowded spaces allow the virus to spread between people because they get in contact, and this contact are very dangerous. Is the situation improving? How long are you guys on lockdown? No, the situation unfortunately it's not improving right now. We have more than 1,500 new cases of sick people each day, and I don't know how long we will be on lockdown. This depends especially on how people will behave throughout this time. If people will respect the safety measure, I think that the situation will recover soon. But if people keep like it's happening to breaking the rules and moving around the country, the situation will not improve, will not get better, and the status of lockdown and quarantine will go on and on even after the end date, which right now is officially April 3rd. If the situation doesn't improve and the safety measures won't get good results, it will be postponed and we will be on lockdown for I think another month. Can you go to other people's houses to hang out? How are they tracking if you stay at home? No, it's not allowed. You can't go to other people's houses because it's not considered an important reason. And also, when you go out of your house, you must have an important reason to do that. The government said that when you go out, you must have like a paperwork, a document filled with what those reasons are. And there are police agents in the streets, and if they check those documents and you don't have a very important reasons to go out, like buying groceries or going to the doctor or going to work, or very necessary reasons, they will charge you like 200 euros for that, and in the worst case you could even go to jail for 3 months. Those are the rules right now. What if you need to go to the doctor for other things? For example, if someone needs medication for the heart, thyroid, etc. Like I said, you can go to the doctor. That is allowed because it's important for people's health and it's necessary. for the ones who need it. How are the families with young children able to cope? How are families handling this since they can't go outside? And following, are you able to go to the park or open space occasionally for a short break if it's not crowded? The government didn't officially close all the parks in Italy, but some cities are starting to do that, like in Rome and I think also in Milan. They close all the major and confined parks, because even when you go out to a park that is an open space, you can't get in contact with other people and you could get close to them, and this will allow the virus to keep spreading. So it's better to avoid to go out. I know it's difficult, especially for children who are stuck in confined space, but it's necessary and they will hopefully go outside very soon. And to support this, I read a set of rules that a group of scientists, of Italian scientists, made and published on one of our main newspapers, that at the point 3 said, don't take them to the park, children like adults must stay at home at this time, a walk in the gardens is not recommended, especially if there are older children or adults. We understand that it's not easy to keep children at home, but now it is necessary, also because children can transmit the infection to grandparents, and for grandparents it is dangerous. How are the people doing with their dogs? You're allowed to take the dog outside, and it also clarified in another article for one of our main national newspaper. And at the question, can I bring the dog out? The answer is yes. The brief exit of the pet for physiological needs is contemplated by the ministerial decree. As a physiological necessity, normal walks with a dog for walking and its physiological needs are therefore allowed. I'm not sure if this is relevant, but if you're a divorced parent and have split custody, are people able to trade their kid back and forth? Usually, parents are allowed to visit their kids, but it's totally up to the parents whether this is necessary or not, knowing that when kids move and parents move too, the virus keeps spreading. It's totally up to the parents to decide what is best to do for them. What's happened to being paid when you can't go to work? And following, I hope that the government will be helping with mortgages, rent payments for those who can't work during this quarantine. Is this true? It's mostly true. The government is working to help the people who obviously can't go to work, because right now all the stores are being closed, including restaurants and bars. The only thing that is left open are supermarkets and pharmacies, so those people can go to work. And if you are an independent worker, usually many jobs are trying to promote like working remotely from home. The government is also trying to help those people, financially talking, to pay later their taxes and mortgages. It is not approved officially yet, but I read all over the newspaper that the government is working on it, so I think that the majority of the mortgages, household bills and rent payments will be suspended for the moment. Last night on CNN, the doctor from WHO said that while 80% of cases in China were a mild form of illness, of that 40% were not really mild, but more mild to severe pneumonia, with then the other 30% being more like mild to severe colds. Are you hearing the same thing in Italy? And are you seeing that there are younger people in their 30s and up needing ventilators? So yeah, I think that the symptoms are pretty much the same. I'm not a doctor, so I just tell you what I read on the national newspapers, and I think that these symptoms can vary. Like there are forms very severe where people have symptoms like pneumonia, like they can't breathe, so they really need ventilators, and those are like the worst cases. Then there are people who have like milder symptoms like a severe cold, and there are also slight chances of cases where people don't show symptoms or very light symptoms, but they also have the virus. So yes, there is a variety of symptoms, and this is like one of the main problems, because sooner or later there won't be enough spaces in the hospital as long as there will be more and more cases. And someone else also asked if those hospitals are starting to do like guidelines, so they choose who to cure and who not. And I read that some hospitals are doing that based on the symptoms. Like if you need a ventilator, of course you have to go to the hospital and stay there. But if you have like no symptoms or very light symptoms, you can be self-quarantine at your house, and you don't have to leave for any reasons, and you are being monitored by distance from the doctors. I'm not a doctor, like I said, so it's just what I read on the news. And also for the people under 30s, it is true that the elderly remain the most affected by the most violent form of the disease triggered by the virus, but about 5% of the sick is under 30 years old, which is like 400 or 500 cases. If one person has it, does everyone they live with automatically have to quarantine together at home as well? They have to call the doctor and tell them about it, and they will tell you what to do. And it depends on how much contacts you have had with the other family members. And yeah, I also read that if there is one case with the virus in the same house, they have to quarantine together in the house, except if they're not like severe cases. In that case, they have to go to the hospital. What is being done to take care for the mentally and physically challenged as well as the elderly? People are like volunteer to try to help those people because they are in need, like go to the grocery store for the elderly and then take the things to their house without getting in contact with them. Thank you for doing this. Do you know anyone who has recovered? We have a very important percentage of people who healed from the virus. This shows like the total number of cases who were infected, and it's important that we have quite big percentage of people who are healing, because this gives us hope. How many people you personally know that were affected, died or infected? I don't know anyone who was personally infected. I feel lucky for that, but I honestly think it's just a matter of time. Because according to me, as the numbers of cases are growing and the virus is spreading right now, it will be just a matter of time if someone I know would personally get infected. I hope this moment will never arrive, but I'm being realistic. I'm feeling at the moment like the UK isn't really taking control of the situation properly and being preventive. Rather, they will act when it gets serious enough. So I know that many governments are saying it's just a flu, don't panic, you are overreacting, but I can assure it's not like that, because everyone here in Italy acted the same at the beginning. Nobody took it seriously. Even politicians would go out and said everything is normal, don't panic, go out in the streets and take a drink, act like everything is normal. Then when the virus starts spreading, everyone understood the real problem of the situation and how important it was. But I think that like now Europe and the US and all the other nations have Italy as an example, and what happened to us could be useful for those other governments to act properly and behave properly and take active measures. Don't panic. I'm not saying you have to panic, creating like chaos around the street. You just have to stay calm, but you have to understand that this is not a normal flu. It is not. So don't panic, but don't underrate the problem either. How bad is the situation for you personally? And also, what advice would you give for people about to enter the situation? What things should we make sure to have to buy, etc.? Are there foods available in groceries, and does pharmacy have medicine? So I think that's one of the questions I got the most, and everyone was asking me that. So for me personally, I'm in a university campus and I'm stuck in here. I can't go back to my family because it could be dangerous for them and for me too. If I have to give some advices, what I would have done, I would say, like I said before, don't underrate the problem. Please don't underrate the problem. I did it before, and all my country did it before. People panicked, people attacked the supermarkets, people rushed over things, people took the train and moved around, and chaos happened. And this chaos help the virus to spread on, and that's why we're in this situation. And if those measures that are right now valid here all over the territory were taken before the spreading of the virus, right now we wouldn't be in this situation. I know it's difficult to accept, I know it's new to all of us, and many of us, including me, are confused and scared. I know that many people are scared because we are too, but we have to stay strong, and we need to understand that the problem is not simple and the virus could be dangerous. It's not very dangerous for you if you have an healthy system, but it could be dangerous for your parents, for grandparents, or for the ones who suffers from previous conditions. Go buy things, go buy what's necessary, but don't rush and don't create crowded situation. When you go to buy things, remember that the supermarkets will be open anyway. If I have to say something like practical about this, I would say always wash your hands because it's important. Try to avoid human contacts with other people. Try to keep distance from the other people, the safety distance of 1 meter. If you have a mask, wear it if you think it's necessary. And always bring with you a hand gel and use it when you go out and touch things. And try not to touch people, don't hug, don't kiss, and keep distance. Don't panic, try to stay calm. If you can, stay at home as much as you can, as much as possible. Stay at home, don't leave your house because it's important. It is hard, but if everyone respects those measures like we're doing here in Italy, I hope that the situation will calm down soon and we all can go back to live our normal life. So that was it for today. If you have more questions about the quarantine, feel free to ask. I will be always happy to answer your questions. And for those of you who are living the same situation like us, stay strong, stay safe, and if you are careful and calm, but also thoughtful, the situation will go back to normal. We all go back to normal. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.